say we start the new year off with a new Neca review? This is Meredith Vickers from the Prometheus Lost Wave. And I actually already did this review, but I didn't like it. When I was going back over it, I didn't like it. I don't think I did as good of a job, and I didn't really want to start the new year off that way. I had other stuff going on, and there's other stuff on my mind, and I ended up just kind of complaining and rambling on about other stuff. But the reason that I want to mention that this is my second time, like taking another stab at reviewing this figure, is because I've made some changes. Originally, this hairpiece here was kind of like really coming out, and I really didn't like it. And I was talking about that like in the review. It looks stupid. So I kind of used some super glue to bring the hair closer to her face, and I think she looks much better now. The other thing is that when I took this flamethrower out of the package, it broke like immediately. And look, I'm pretty careful with taking things out of the package, but this thing, these little pipes are so thin and this plastic is so brittle that they just instantaneously fell apart in my hands. It felt like I was set up. So I glued that back together and I fixed that. Now it's kind of hard to get her to hold this thing with two hands. So I think when I do the articulation, I'm gonna go ahead and use the footage of I'm gonna use the old footage. And so forgive me if that ends up not looking that great. I'm always trying to make sure that these videos look pretty good. I always want it to look. I don't know, I'm always messing around with the lighting and my camera, but my camera is not like the greatest thing. I bought the absolute cheapest camera that I possibly could, but even that was still a couple $100. So it was the cheapest one, but it was expensive for me. So this is as good as it gets for me for now. So I might end up just using that articulation for the other thing. And see, here's the thing, here's the problem. When you try to get her to hold this thing with two hands, like here's the handle, right, and here's the other handle, right? So here's like the trigger handle, and then whatever, here's the this handle, and they're so close together that it's really kind of hard to get her to hold it like this, because there's an extreme lack of articulation on NECA figures. Now look, I don't buy NECA figures expecting a lot of articulation, but in some cases it really comes to basically bite them in the ass because the character can't do something. These characters, they don't have butterfly joints there, so they can't bring their shoulders closer to their chest. That's not a huge deal, but they don't have bicep swivels, and that is really kind of a problem. And then also the limited wrist articulation. They don't really have wrist hinge. It's more of like wrist rotation, and so all that. No double jointed elbows, no bicep swivel. It just makes characters have a hard time to put their arms together to hold these types of weapons. And it's different than, say, Vasquez. See, now Vasquez can hold her smart gun the way she's supposed to, because from where the two handles are, they're really far apart. This lets her bring this arm way back, right? Way back. Even though she doesn't have bicep swivel or anything like that, she has the same limited articulation as the others. But because she can bring this arm like way back, and then her other arm gets to be extended all the way forward, she looks like she's naturally holding this thing the way she's supposed to, the way she does in the movie. But that's not the case for these hands. They're just too close together. So Vickers can't really do that. So it's really kind of hard to get her to hold this thing, the way I feel like she's supposed to. This is kind of as close as I could get it. Now, like I said, this thing broke like right around here. Now this accessory broke right around here. So, I super glued it and everything, but I'm just kind of worried about the rest of it breaking, especially this, which seems really thin, and I was having a really hard time kind of getting it in her hand, to the point where I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna break it. If it breaks, it breaks, and I'll super glue it and fix it later. Luckily, it did not break a second time, but it was really kind of, I don't know, like touch and go to get her to hold this thing. So, I don't know, that's kind of a gripe. I don't really think about articulation that much with NECA figures. Look, every person, like everybody that I've ever seen display their NECA figure collection, this is what it looks like. It's just characters all standing up like this. Yeah, sure, they got leg articulation, but it almost means nothing. They can never bring their legs that high. A lot of human characters do not have double jointed knees. Even with, say, like predators that do have double jointed knees and you try to get them into a crouching pose, their torso ends up leaning too far back, and they don't have ab crunches, so you can't counterbalance it or anything like that. So it's really kind of hard to get NECA figures into any real kind of dynamic poses. It's not impossible. You can do it with some characters for some poses, but for the most part, the articulation is very, very simple. I don't think NECA really wants its toys to look like toys, so they want the sculpt to be as hidden as possible. And in some cases, I really like that. Like the way they do waist swivels. I mean, it does not look weird at all, right? The waist swivel. It looks hidden. It looks like it's all a part of the sculpt. But yet she still has one. That's fantastic, because I hate waist swivels because of how it makes the figure look really weird when you use it. Like, it looks like their torso's chopped in half and blocky. And so I really wish that all companies would do torsos the way that NECA does. But man, I kind of wish NECA would just give us a little bit more articulation for these human figures, so that not everyone's collection just look like this. It's just a bunch of characters just standing around and firing from the hip. So that's kind of a small gripe that might bother me more than it bothers other people. I guess another little gripe that bothers me more than other people is that she's just wearing her spacesuit. Now, look, I know exactly why she's wearing this suit, right? It's the same body as Shaw, and I get it that, like, these, it's called the Lost Wave, right? Like, for a reason. Like, these toys were probably maybe not going to come out or whatever. Although NECA says that a lot for a lot of things. Like, we're not going to do Alien Isolation figures, and then they do Alien Isolation figures. And, we're not going to do these Gremlins, and then they did whatever, such and such Gremlins. Or we're not going to, we'll never make a Burke or whatever. Like, they just, maybe eventually they just get around to it. And I'm sure they take a lot of things into consideration, because they can't just, like, waste money as a small company. And I get it. But I really wish that Vickers would have been have her own sculpt, either have her in her business suit or something like that, because mostly she was aboard the ship. So while she did wear a spacesuit, she didn't wear it for very long. So I kind of wish maybe she had something else. That's not a huge issue. It's just, I just kind of wish that that she had her own original sculpt. But I do understand, why it is that she doesn't. My other thing is, there's something about, and I think this is more a problem with my figure. I don't really like the eyes, and I feel like they've just painted in so much, or they're so small that like when you zoom in, you can see that they did her pupils and whatever, but it's like the rest of her eye, where it should be white, is not all that white. And so from far away, it looks like her entire eyeball is colored in. Like, her eyes look black, like shark eyes. And that gives her a really weird ass look. And her doing that weird kissy face, that selfie face, or whatever that girls do. I'm not really into that either. However, months ago when I first saw this figure, the one that I had in my hand at that time, I thought really looked like Charlize Theron. I thought, like, wow, man, this is awesome. What a great figure. But I put it back because there were a few Vickers on the shelf. Well, there was like 5. But there was only one Elizabeth Shaw. So I was like, you know what? Even though I want Charlize Theron, even though I want Vickers more, I'm going to go ahead and get Shaw, because it's the last one, And I just, what if I don't find it again? So I ended up getting the Shaw, which I thought was great. But, you know, this Vickers, I don't think looks all that much like Charlize Theron. The packaging, it does. It really does. If you look at the promotional pictures, it's so amazing. But in my figure in particular, not so much. So I'm a little disappointed about that. But aside from that, and aside from the fact that it's the same body, I really like it. I mean, I really liked this spacesuit on Shaw, so of course I like it on Vickers. I really like, I like the design of it, and I like the color scheme of it. It really kind of stands out. In addition to that, I really like that they got the emblems. The emblems on the suit, everything just looks really good. I think that's really cool. I really like the distinction between the material that is the blue part of the suit, and then this whatever, the metal or whatever you want to call it, for the black pieces of the suit. You can see the detail in the straps, little paint splotch there, but all that looks really cool. And especially down at the boots, I love these boots. That's one of the things I like about Neca figures. There's always a really nice distinction between materials. Metal looks like metal, leather looks like leather, denim looks like denim, and so on. And I just think that's really great. Also, the hair, I think, is really, really nice. It's got kind of a wash to it, so it's kind of like a dirty blonde. You can see it more in the roots. And she actually has a ponytail, but it's actually kind of hard to see. But her hair is pulled back, and that ponytail does not really interfere with her movement or anything. Anyway, so when you look at it, it's like, yeah, it's pretty good, right? When I first opened it up, I wasn't that happy with it, really. But once I glued the hair down so it wasn't, all over the place, I like it much more now, and it has kind of grown on me. So for her accessories, she comes with this helmet, and I really like this. And I don't know if that's because I guess I'm technically a 90s kid. Like, translucent plastic, I guess, was just the coolest thing in the 90s. Like, look, if you did not have a controller to one of your video game consoles, if you did not have like one controller that was made in clear plastic, man, you were not one of the cool kids. But so I guess I just like that I don't know, I just think it's cool when a character comes with a helmet. Also, I kind of like the fishbowl look it gives the character once you put it on, and it secures really nicely with these multiple pegs. And so I think that this is pretty cool. Now, the other little accessory that actually comes packaged in this helmet, it's in a little baggie, and then they just stuff that baggie into this. Not secured with tape or nothing like that. They just stuff the baggie into the helmet. Is this camera on her shoulder. At least I guess that's what it is. Here in plastic form, it doesn't look that much like a camera, but like in the actual pictures, it looks more like one. But here, not so much. But I guess that's what it is. Anyways, it's got this really tiny peg, and it basically pegs into this really tiny hole. And that is where it goes. If you look at the helmet, actually, it looks like maybe it would go somewhere up here or something like that, but no. It goes in the shoulder, trust me. The only thing is that it doesn't stay in there very well. Now, it will not fall out if you turn the character upside down or anything. But if the character falls over, this little camera tends to pop out. And I don't know what the deal is, but I have a really hard time standing these figures. And I mean, they have the same body, so I had a hell of a time standing up Shaw. So of course I have a hell of a time standing up Vickers. But it is kind of nice. It has a tiny little hinge. That's a nice touch, even though it seems kind of unnecessary. But anyways, my advice would be to just put a little dab of super glue on there when you peg it in, because otherwise I think you're liable to lose it. And then she has this flamethrower. Now I think this is really nice. Now I'm no weapons expert or anything. My knowledge of flamethrowers comes from playing Fallout 4, I guess. But this thing just seems so much more heavy duty than say the flamethrower that Amanda Ripley comes with. Like, that one seems, I don't know, weak compared to this huge monster. Like, this thing seems like it's just shooting out napalm and just, I don't know, melt a person, I guess. She does use this to burn somebody alive, which to me is a really crazy scene, and I think it's actually kind of cool. When you think about that scene, you know, that you have to imagine the panic that must be going on. Someone's got an alien disease? What if we all catch it? And so you gotta be like, oh, I can't believe this guy's about to get burned alive, you know, burned to death right in front of us. But what if we get sick? I mean, the whole crew had to watch that go down. That's really, really kind of crazy. So I think that's cool. Although I'm much more positive on Prometheus, the movie, than I guess a lot of other people are. I like Prometheus. I like Covenant. I thought these were good movies. So the silver paint on it is really nice. It's really shiny. This is a great silver paint. I wish a lot of accessories came with this kind of silver paint. Because sometimes, you know, they'll just be like gray, and that's fine. But this looks almost chrome. It's very shiny, very, very nice. The buttons on the triggers are painted red. It's a very nice touch. Other than that, there's really not a whole lot going on. It's really just black and silver. Now for the articulation, I think I'm going to go ahead and splice in the older footage, because now that I got this figure to hold this thing without breaking it, I'm really kind of worried about trying to pry this thing out of her hands. So I'm going to go ahead and swap over to the old footage for just a second, and then we'll come right back. Really quickly for articulation, she can look left and she can look right a fair amount. Her ponytail does not get in the way, but she can't really look down very much, like at all. Even though there's really nothing to obstruct her from doing it, she just can't. And then she can look up about that much. Her ponytail in the back actually just kind of slips down her neck, so it actually doesn't get in the way. It's really just more this joint just doesn't have a lot of movement on its own as it is. And then at the shoulder, there's good articulation. This little piece of armor is, it's a soft plastic and it's connected up to this chest piece, so it'll actually move out of the way and you can get your full range of motion out of her. So that's good. Then a single joint at the elbow gives you about 90 degrees, and then it has a swivel. And then you have wrist rotation, but there's no hinge, and I really wish there was. I wish they would just start doing hinges on their human figures' wrists. Anyway, then she has a diaphragm joint, and that does give you some upper body movement. Pretty nice. The waist is not like your typical waist swivel. It's kind of like the waist is sitting within her crotch piece, which is like a separate piece. And I really like that. I don't like waist swivels because I feel like they always mess with the sculpt. But when you do a waist swivel this way, it doesn't mess with the sculpt and it looks much more natural. And I kind of wish everybody would do their waist swivels like this. So you get some really nice movement there. You can get a little bit of an ab crunch. That's not bad. Pretty good there. Here at the legs, you can force the leg to come out pretty far, but look what's happening to her weird underwear crotch piece. It's just looking really tripped out there. It's like she's got 2 vaginas, or maybe even 3. God, who knows? So I kind of don't like that. But I don't know. It's okay. It's better on some characters than it is on others. But you can get her to do the splits pretty far. So decent movement right there. And then it has like a really high upper thigh swivel. That's nice and hidden, so it doesn't mess with the sculpt. Again, very nice. I do like when articulation can be like hidden within the sculpt. And then at the knee, we got a single jointed knee. And the only benefit to that is that then you can swivel it at the knee. And then down here at the ankle, there is a hinge, but it's like they got these, well, I guess what would be the tongue of a regular shoe is a very stiff plastic, and so it only kind of comes up about that far. Point it down a little bit. It does rotate. And a little bit of an ankle rocker. Not a whole lot, but a little bit. It's okay. Okay, so overall, I really like this figure now a lot more than I did when I first opened it. I was not that happy with it, and so I know I still made some complaints because nothing's perfect. But I really hate when people try and push this thing on me like, you know, like, oh, you should thank your lucky stars. These figures got made at all or whatever. Why? Why should that be the default where you're like, hey, settle for less because you could have nothing? Yeah, I guess I could, but I still want figures to be the best they possibly can be. You know, I mean, for their price range. And here's the thing, I'm happy with this figure. It's $24.99. I don't think that's expensive, but why is it $24.99? Look, like the wave that came out before this figure's a little old now. The wave that had come out before this, right, was the one that had like the Defiance Xenomorph, right? That was $24.99. And then you had like that 90s Kenner throwback Xenomorph, and that was $24.99. But then Lambert was also a part of that wave, right? And she was only $19.99. Why was she $5 less? You know, so here you have this figure, it's $5 more. Is it because she came with accessories, with the helmet and, you know, the flamethrower? Was that it? But, you know, we also had that anniversary Terminator, and that came with accessories too. The one, you know, the one that came with that that box of roses from when he goes to the mall. So, you know, that came with accessories and so on, and that was only $19.99. That Terminator. So this figure costs $5 more, and I guess I wonder about the pricing. Soon the new God of War Kratos is going to come out, and it looks like to be in the same packaging as that Terminator figure. But I wonder, what will this Kratos be? $24.99, $29.99, or $19.99, like the Terminator? I don't know. So I don't know. When something costs more than other things, then I'm kind of expecting it to, I don't know, provide a little bit more. And I guess I really got hung up on that. But look, now looking at it, I actually like this figure. I think it does look pretty good. Again, I'm really just glad I fixed that hair. But having her next to Shaw, I think, you know, together they look really cool. The blue really stands out amongst my other human NECA figures. So I'm happy with it now, and I'm glad to have it. I mean, I was glad to have it anyways. Look, I like the character Meredith Vickers. I really like Charlize Theron as an actress overall, but I also really like the character Vickers, and I liked Prometheus. So I want Prometheus figures. I want more Prometheus figures. I know these things probably don't sell that much, and so I'm alone with wanting like more Alien Isolation figures and stuff. Like, I really wish they would have made Working Joe figure. I think that would have been really cool. I wish they would have made Samuels and stuff like that. I wish, well, we're probably never going to get any more Alien Covenant figures, but I wish that we would. I really like the Aliens franchise, so the more figures, the better. So I am happy with it, but I don't know. This one took a little bit of time to appreciate. Usually when I buy a figure, I like it instantaneously. This one I had to, this one I had to really think about it and look over it and everything. But now I really do like it. I do wish she had her own original sculpt. I do wish that maybe Neca had some better articulation and all these other little things. But those are really, really minor things. And those are probably more unique to me than other people. Maybe everyone else does not want those things. They don't care. Maybe no one really cares about this character and that great of demand that it warrants, getting so worked up about it. But, for me, I think that this figure is pretty good. I do appreciate it now. If you do happen to see it, I would say get it. And the same thing goes for the Shaw figure. They look really great together. That suit is just such a cool design. So, anyways, until next time, take care.